Welcome to the GCN Tech Show. This week we've got new cycling shoes from Nike, socks that'll make you go faster, a new gravel bike from Specialized, your upgrades, the Bike Vault, and our main talking point, futuristic materials that could change bikes. Let's go.
Thanks, Manon. This week we're going to take a look at the latest material science and some futuristic materials that have been created that could massively impact cycling and the bikes we ride in the future. This is something we've looked at before, and I'm really interested in science and stuff, so I wanted to share it with you with some new materials that have caught our eye, starting with metal foams. So these are metal that is turned into a foam, kind of a bit like the structure of aerated chocolate, like an Cadbury's Aero or a Whisper. But the crucial thing is that they retain much of the sort of physical and material properties of the metal, but they become much, much lighter because they can be up to 95% space thanks to little bubbles that are impregnated into the metal structure. This can be done in a number of ways, one of which is vaporizing gas as you set the metal. One of the most exciting things about this material is that it can be done with different alloys and things, but it's already at a point where we can mass produce it. In fact, one of the US Navy's latest ships has a deck made from foam, which is kind of cool. And in the future, they reckon that there's loads of applications for these, such as large-scale building projects and floating cities and wacky stuff like that, but also, well, potentially bike frames. That'd be pretty cool. But I'm not sure how widespread the technology will become into bikes because, you know, alloy bikes as they are, they're already hollow. So maybe there are other materials that could be more suitable. The next thing we've come across is super hydrophobic materials. Now these are inspired by nature, biomimicry. So when we look at leaves such as the lotus leaf that we see in nature, the way in which it sheds water is incredible. So scientists have taken inspiration from that and tried to recreate that surface onto textiles and other objects and as coatings to make objects that can repel water and be super waterproof in ways that we've not seen before. These coatings are designed to trap little air pockets on the surface. That's how the lotus leaf is thought to do it. And then you can also, on some coatings, they've put little tiny sort of nano cones on the surface as well, which all helps disrupt the surface tension of water and it just sheds off. It means that we could make computer chips that are highly waterproof, or bikes and clothing that we wear would just be waterproof and largely dirt-proof as well, as nothing would want to stick to them. Next up is transparent aluminium. Now, if you're a nerd, then you may recall the plot to Star Trek IV, in which Scotty travelled back in time and then had to invent transparent aluminium so that he could build a tank that would house some whales as he transported them back into the future. I had to look that up, honestly. I didn't know that by heart. Promise. Anyhow, transparent aluminium is actually now a thing. We can actually make this stuff, although it's not strictly made from just aluminium. It also contains oxygen and nitrogen. Its proper name is aluminium oxynitride, and it's incredible stuff. It's completely transparent, like glass or perspex, and it's said to be 3 times stronger than steel, which is incredible. And it's created by getting the aluminium oxynitride powder and then subjecting it to extreme heat and pressure, and then they can compress it and turn it into this glass-like substance. But it is pretty dense, and it's also not very moldable, and it's not especially ductile or, you know, lightweight. So I can't see it having many widespread uses in terms of building bike frames. But if you want bulletproof windows, or, you know, you're building an intergalactic whale tank, this is the stuff you want. But other metallic glasses are also being created, and they're said to have incredibly exciting applications within low friction coatings as well. So it is feasible that we could see metallic glasses applied to drivetrain components to make them harder wearing and last longer. and run quieter. Speaking of wear resistance, what is the hardest thing in the world? Is it A, Chuck Norris, B, dried-on Weetabix, C, the Mitchell brothers, or D, diamonds? Well, if you answered any of those, you were wrong, because it was a trick question. The answer is in fact hyperdiamonds, or to give it their proper name, aggregated diamond nanorods, which admittedly does sound like a euphemism for the Mitchell brothers. Anyway, forget about that. They're proper hard. And they too have some really exciting potential applications in the future for highly wear-resistant coatings. Future looks good. I mean, drivetrains could last much longer. Next up is one that you've probably heard of because people have been talking about it for a long time, and that is Spider Silk. Now, we've all seen the Spider-Man films, and many of you will probably be aware that Spider Silk is said to be 5 times stronger than steel, and it's also elastic as well, and has loads of other cool material properties. The problem is that spiders don't like being farmed, which means mass producing Spider Silk is difficult, because unlike silkworms, spiders take up loads and loads of space, and they like eating each other. However, a Japanese company seems like it might have cracked it. They're called Spiber, and they've created Spider Silk, which they call brood protein, okay? And they say that the silk is made by way of a special genetically modified bacteria that is then fed a diet of sugar, salt, and other micronutrients. So what has Spiber done with this incredible invention? Well, according to their website, they've made some t-shirts and a limited edition run of these rather fetching North Face jackets as well. Cool. And I mean, I looked on their website, but I couldn't see any quantitative data published about the material properties of the Spider Silk they've made. So, I mean, perhaps they haven't totally cracked it yet, but time will tell, and it's an exciting step in the direction of what could be an incredible material. I mean, imagine if you replaced, feasibly the fibre strands in carbon fibre with Spider Silk to make a new composite material. You could conceivably make bikes out of that. Would they be better than carbon fibre bikes? Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Cool, though. And finally, something that I think we'll start to see sooner than those other things is more e-textiles. So wearable tech and special fabrics that are smart and have circuits built into them. So with this, you can have clothing that changes colour. So you could have a jersey, and depending on what time of the day you're riding at, you could make it brighter or darker, or imagine a situation where you're able to change the colour of the virtual race leader in the Tour de France to the yellow jersey. It'd be a bit confusing, and you'd lose the honour of wearing the yellow jersey all day, but yeah, maybe this is where that technology could be used. Other exciting things are sensors built into clothing. So you could have perspiration measured and rates of perspiration. So tracking athletes and cyclists and telling them how much hydration they need to take on board. And just simple things as well, like heart rate. So at the moment, we wear heart rate straps or like a Whoop like this, but in the future, and not too distant future, it's highly likely that these will just be integrated into clothing and you won't even notice that it's there. Something I'm really excited about though is inbuilt printed heaters, because these are very light, very small, can be woven into fabric. And I mean, anyone that's ridden up a mountain in summer, say sometimes you can ride in the valley floor, 30 degrees, you're boiling. You get to the top of like a massive alpine climb and it's freezing, especially when you start descending. So imagine if you could have heaters built into your clothing. They didn't really add any weight or bulk or anything. You could just, give yourself a bit of warmth. That'd be awesome. I'd be well up for that. Now, it may not contain any of that really cool futuristic tech, but in terms of what's currently available, the GCN new custom kit, I mean, that's all the latest tech going on in there of what we have in the present. Plus it looks amazing and it's available to pre-order at shop.global cycling network. Seamless plug, I'm sure. Well, maybe not. Anyway, let us know in the comments what you're most excited about seeing. And also, if you've got any creative or imaginative solutions, the wackier the better, about materials that you would love to see, fire them down in the comments, because that's the great thing with this. A lot of these materials are the stuff of science fiction, and things like transparent aluminium, and it was in Star Trek and things. And then scientists have worked out ways to actually make it. It's amazing. So put some down, and if there's some good ones, we'll read them out next week. That'll be fun. It's time now for Hot Tech. And first up this week, we're going to head over to Si, who's got some news on the new SRAM Force Wide group set.
Thanks guys, right, you join me in this crucible of hot new tech that's also known as my garden. Now you see, in with those Zip 303S wheels that I showed on GCN last week, SRAM also included a new, very interesting update to their Force ETAP Access group set called Force Wide. Now, you see, when Force ETAP Access was launched last year, I think fans of SRAM's 1x drivetrains were left with a slightly more restricted choice of cassettes, because you only had a 1033 largest cassette choice on Force, and whilst you could pair it up with a 10 to 50 mountain bike cassette, you needed a mountain bike rear derailleur as well. However, with this, they've just introduced a 10 to 36 cassette, which is excellent. But let's not beat around the bush here. This is not about SRAM 1x, because they've also introduced this. Ta-da! A new double chain set, but with kind of like super compact size rings. So that is a 4330. Now, for gear ratio nerds out there, that gives you an equivalent top gear of slightly smaller than 5011, but slightly larger than 5012 when paired with that 10-tooth cassette at the back. So pretty amazing what you can get out of a 43 when you've got a 10 on the back. Now, SRAM say that this is not a gravel-specific group set. This is for anyone riding with drop handlebars, roadies that like super long, super extreme climbs, or bike packers, I'm thinking, who with heavily laden bikes are going to be moving that little bit slower. But there is something in here for gravelers to absolutely rejoice at as well. And that is this. Ta-da! The new front derailleur, which when paired with this chain set allows you to fit a 45mm wide tyre in the back of your bike. So previously you were limited to 42mm, certainly on SRAM Force, but also I think on Shimano GRX group sets as well. But now you can get that 45 in there. The reason being, ta-da, is this. So this is obviously the other half of that. Now that axle is slightly longer, which allows you to space the chainset out a little bit more, and therefore the front derailleur can be spaced out a little bit more, and you can squeeze that tyre in. What it also means is that longer axle increases the versatility, so you can fit this in a standard frame set, a road or gravel frame set with a 68mm wide bottom bracket, but it would also fit into a 73mm wide mountain bike bottom bracket as well. Now it does space your Q factor out by an additional 5mm, but that is some pretty cool versatility in there as well. Now the final component I've got down there is, of course, a rear derailleur, which you will also need to increase that max tooth capacity up to a 36 from a standard 33 on a Force group set. Now, I'm wondering whether this longer axle on the cranks there is kind of a hint of what might be coming from bike manufacturers. So, do they move to a wider mountain bike spacing in order to fit ever wider tyres in the new gravel bikes that will undoubtedly be made out of hyper diamonds? Yeah.
Thanks, Si. Looks good. Now, this week has also seen Nike release an indoor-specific cycling shoe. Now, many of you will have probably seen Mark Cavendish and Adam Blythe famously wearing custom Nike shoes while racing in the past, but these have never been available to the public.
The new shoe is called the Super Rep. And in addition to being an indoor shoe, they have two Velcro straps, which look very similar to a football boot with those rubber studs.
Oh, you know what? I'm not sure what I make of those, man. I mean, I just don't understand. You could just use your outdoor cycling shoes indoors, but you can't really use outdoor ones outdoors.
I mean, I'm torn. An indoor cycling shoe, do we really need it? But then at the same time, Nike is a pretty cool shoe to be wearing, so it'll be interesting to see if they do catch on.
I'm sure they'll be quite divisive. So, you know, I'm sure you guys will be keen to comment. So let us know in the comments what you think of them, hot or not.
Envy have also announced their new custom decal wheel builder program on their wheels, meaning you can design your very own pair of snazzy wheels directly from the manufacturer. Now, we think this is super cool, and it's going to lead to some pretty bling wheels on bikes to take your wheels to the next level.
We have another new Specialized bike this week too, the Vado SL, which is a flat bar e-bike designed for mixed surface terrain. So it's got slightly wider tyres on it. And well, it looks like it'll be ideal for, you know, a lot of the people who are perhaps getting into cycling as part of the lockdown and just discovering the sport, which is pretty cool. And it's got future shock at the front to give a bit of suspension, similar to what's found on the Specialized Roubaix bike that you will have seen before. And it's also got quite a lightweight construction as well. So it's said to be, according to Specialized, quite a bit lighter, around 1.9 kilograms than a lot of similar e-bikes in its class. And they've worked on getting the center of gravity lower in the bike as well. Batteries and motors are heavy, and so they've worked to put them as low down and near the bottom bracket as possible, as this improves the handling of the bike rather than having a greater moment with all that weight higher up. This is actually a design idea that I first saw on BMC's Alpen Challenge e-bikes a couple of years ago. But yeah, cool.
And finally, in hot tech this week, some new socks. But they aren't any old socks.
Yeah, in 2017, a small company called Rule 28 brought out some aero socks, and people who initially wore them, well, were kind of laughed at on the start line. People thought it was quite a ridiculous idea. But then those people started doing pretty well in races and winning quite a few races. And then people stopped laughing, and more people started wearing them, and they became a kind of thing that you saw quite a lot of people wearing, including riders in the Tour de France. Some riders were spotted wearing them. So yeah, they definitely became a thing.
And for good reason. Independent aerodynamic testing has shown socks can make a significant difference.
Well, I've got the version 2 sock here, and it's got this rather intriguing fabric on it, and it's said to be a new proprietary fabric that they've developed in the wind tunnel at the Silverstone Sports Engineering Hub. It's said to be 8 watts faster than their previous sock. It's quite a big saving, that, especially if you're trying to, you know, break the pursuit world record or something. I'm sure we'll see them at the Olympics as and when the Olympics happens.
Cha-ching! It's now time for Screw Riding Upgrades by Upgrades, where you submit upgrades that you've done to your bikes or cycling lives for a chance to win the ultimate prize, a GCN cap. Now, before we move on to this week's upgrades, let's take a look at last week's results. So we had David Thex Hillmans versus Luis Alvarez Accordo. And the winner is, with 56%, was David. Well done, mate. Make sure you get in contact with us and we'll send your cap right out to you. I'm just going to say at this point, last 2 weeks, me and Ollie have picked one upgrade each, and it's kind of been ours, and then obviously you voted on them, and I've had the best upgrade 2 weeks running, so... And basically Ollie doesn't like losing, so he's left me to pick both of the upgrades this week, so... I can't lose this week because I picked both of them, so let's see what we got this week. First up this week, we have this one in from Whacking Willy. Check this out.
I'll show you how it works. So just riding along as normal. Going up a bit of an incline at the moment. Now I'm going along the flex. And then when you want to go downhill, down you go.
Now this is something completely different to anything I've seen on By Upgrades before, and he has used an old office chair to make an incline simulator for the turbo. Now you can see these if you're riding on a Zwift or something and you're going up a climb, it'll automatically, you know, rise. So you're in that position as if you're climbing, and then descending it'll go down, obviously, as if you're descending. And you know, they can be quite expensive, but he's made one out of an old office chair, and he has made it sound pretty simple. Took a few measurements, got out the angle grinder and a drill, cut off what he didn't need, drilled a hole, then quickly searched around the garage for a couple of bolts and washers, fitted it to the bike, and it worked. And it looks like it works pretty well for what it needs to do. So I'm saying this is a pretty good upgrade and a pretty good hack, if I do say so. But who is he up against? He is up against Mouse. He's finally had time to finish his Cafe Race build. This was a pretty tired Giant X Sport hybrid bike, and he has collected lots of parts in the last year so he could finally build it. The frame and wheels are standard and the rest are new parts from friends' bins that they didn't want and what he had in the garage. It's got front forks are AliExpress, Brooks saddle, lots of pro stuff on the handlebars, SRAM force, one 42 tooth chainring, a Shimano 105, and okay, the bike before does look pretty tired. It's not really anything special, pretty standard. But it's been stripped, repainted, and I am a big fan of the paint job here. He's got his name on the top tube and Cafe Racer on the down tube now. And I'm liking the gold and the black theme, so pretty good paint job. And the finished product is pretty cool. This is a pretty good upgrade. Right. This looks like a bike that should be in the bike vault because all the bike vault rules have been applied. The valves at 6 o'clock, biggie smalls. We've even got a gold chain. I know it's not the bike vault, but tan sidewalls too. And check out the hydration he's got on board here. He's even got matching, I'm guessing it's champagne, and matching a beer bottle to match the colour scheme of the bike. Now, this bike has gone from like a 1.2 to a 9.3, I'm gonna say. This is a pretty good transformation. But it's not up to me, it's up to you guys. So if you haven't already and you want to vote, why not download the GCN app so you can vote on these very bikes and who can win the GCN cap. Now this is going to be a pretty close one because I think I have picked two very good upgrades here. So make sure you head over to the app and get voting. I'm going to vote now, get my vote in early. It's now time for the bike vault, where you submit pictures of your bikes, your pride and joy, and I vote if they're nice or super nice. And if they're super nice, they get put to the bike vault forever and ever and ever, and the bike vault bell gets rung. Now, if you do disagree with any of my judgments on these bikes, you can head over to the GCN app and have your own say if they're nice or super nice. Now, without further ado, let's see who we've got in first. This one is in from Bonnie, and this is a Specialized Avenger Pro from 2019 with Shimano Ultegra. That's a very nice picture. I do like this bike. We've even got a gold chain. We are off to a really good start in the bike vault this week. Fist bump for the gold chain. We're in biggie smalls. I do like the Specialized logo in different colours. I wonder if that's custom. Very nice. We've even got tan sidewalls. Very nice. Very nice background. Nice and clean. The only thing about this bike is the valves aren't quite lined up. But you know, I'm not going to be too harsh. I don't want to be that person. I'm thinking this is super nice. I'm a fan. The gold chain, the tan sidewalls, like, come on. That is nice. Biggie smalls. I'm going to say it's super nice. Next up, we have this Specialized Tarmac in from GCN 5, and it has Ultegra R8000, Roval CL64 wheels. But there's one little problem with this. I can't possibly judge this bike to be in the bike vault if the drivetrain is not facing me. I can't see if it's in biggie smalls. There's just no chance I can give this a super nice if the drivetrain isn't facing the camera. So this bike needs to be resubmitted with the bike turned round and make sure everything is lined up. So for that reason, this is just a nice, because I just can't possibly judge it to be in the bike vault with it not facing. Anyway, next up we have this in from we.v. This is a Soma Fog Cutter 2018 Shimano GRX Mixed Group Set, Velo City Blunt Wheels. I like. Big fan of the paint, that nice dark red, nice tan sidewalls. Do we have a gold chain? I don't think so. But I mean, still very nice. Brown bar tape, do like that with the tan sidewalls. And a cute little saddlebag, very retro, old school. But okay, this is a hard one because I do really like this bike. But we're not in biggie smalls and the valves aren't lined up and the cranks. But there is clean background. Oh, it's a hard one. I feel like if I give it a super nice, it's not, I'm gonna get shouted at for people because it's not following the bike vault rules. So I'm gonna give this a nice, but it is a very nice bike. I do like it, but if everything was bike vault, followed the bike vault rules, this would definitely be a super nice. Next up, we have this one in from Drum Majorque. This is an Obeya Orca from 2008. I've got my Obeya Orca right here. Snap. With some Campagnolo and fulcrum wheels. Wow. I'm like, this gold and black colour scheme is the new thing. I've seen lots of gold and black colour scheme bikes. And the bar tape, big fan of the black fading into the gold there. There is no chimney in sight here. That chimney is non-existent. All the bike vault rules have been applied to this bike. This is a very good example for anybody watching that wants to get your bike in the bike vault. Follow these rules. The valves at 6 o'clock, the crank at 3 o'clock. You want to be in biggie small, which is in the chain in the big chainring at the front and in the little cassette at the back. We do allow a little bit of chimney, but you know, we don't want lots of chimney. The chimney is at the top of the handlebars, the steerer where you screw your handlebar and your stem into. No bottles. The tyres are lined up, the wheels. Pirelli tyres are very nice, P0. I think you'd all agree with me here that this is a super nice. I really like that 2008 frame as well. Very nice. I'm gonna give this a super nice. The last bike in the bike vault this week is a track bike. This one is in from Travis_R01, and this is a Sabello T4. Now this is actually the bike I used to ride. Very nice bike. If you haven't got a gold chain on there, good job, Travis. What else have we got on there? We've got a 130 stem, very long. A Shimano Pro Stealth saddle. I do like the handlebars, they're like quite narrow drop, kind of like sprint bars. 3T stem, very nice. Token disc wheel and a deep section in the front. I think we need to see more track bikes in the bike vault. So if you have a track bike, take a picture of it and send it in to the bike vault because I would really like to see some more track bikes. I'm gonna say this is a super nice. I like the kit that's on this bike. The crank is in biggie smalls. The crank is at 3 o'clock. Super nice for the track bike. Now that's it for the bike vault this week. Remember, you can upload your bikes to the bike vault using the GCN app in hope of your bike making it onto the bike vault next week. So make sure you get submitting pictures of your bikes.
That's all we've got time for on this week's show, so I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, you know, please support the channel and give us a thumbs up and a like and a follow and all that stuff. And yeah, lockdown's dragging on a bit, but you know, I'm going to keep myself amused. I'm going to get the old retro Giro coverage on and enjoy that, and I'll see you next week.